Hello everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Ghostman, and today I want to talk about some three prevailing myths about morality people that the majority of people seem to be infected by, mainly because of parental conditioning and the lack of questioning a parent's authority. And okay, here we go. Three myths about morality. Myth 1: morality is decided by empathy. This is a problematic view for two reasons. One is, if one is born with little to no empathy, like a psychopath, for example, what reason does that person have to be moral if there's no empathy deciding what is right or wrong? This would basically make it to where if the psychopath has no moral decider, there's no moral decider to make that psychopath or whoever else is born without empathy have any obligation to acquire empathy. And then we have the second problem with this view is empathy conflicts with other people's empathy. Emotions, by their definition, are subjective, so what I feel bad about, you won't, and vice versa. Now, if you want an example of this, take a vegan and an omnivore, for example. Both have empathy, yet one will have empathy for just humans and the other will have empathy for both humans and animals. Which ones do we decide who is right or wrong? This is where the problem arises with deciding what is right or wrong with empathy. This is the problem with it, is that we get to a point where it can't be universalized. And then we go down to myth number 2, which is morality is subjective. Now, is morality subjective? Yes and no. It's subjective in the sense that there are different moral frameworks, but not subjective in the sense that morality is whatever your opinion is. For example, every moral framework agrees murder is wrong. Every moral framework disagrees with whether making yourself go to sleep forever is morally permissible. Now, if you're going to cry moral relativism and moral subjectivism, those are actually classified as dark philosophy for their dangerous implications, so it's better not to believe them. I'll get to the dangers of them at the end of the video. Myth number 3. Sorry, I have a problem talking sometimes. Moral goodness is a natural human quality. This is wishful thinking for a few reasons. One is, if moral goodness is innate, why did slavery last so long? Slavery has been around since the Neolithic period. Look that up, that is true. We've been doing it since prehistoric times, and it only ended in the 1800s. This doesn't provide much strength to the innate moral goodness thesis. It actually provides a lot against it. Not to mention the other atrocities that went on for a significant amount of time that were once considered morally permissible. If there was an innate moral goodness, where was it during those times? And why did it take so long for it to kick in? That's the problem I have with that thesis. Anyway, if you want to know what I think, whether humans are born morally good or bad, I'd say neither. I think we are born amoral, as in neither good or bad, and we learn morality as soon as we start aging. Now here's the thing, some people are probably gonna point to psychological studies that say otherwise, but here's the thing, did you ask those psychologists what their moral frameworks were? If you didn't, then don't rely on those studies, because those studies are very misleading, right? Because what is considered moral to that particular psychologist doing that study? What are they going by? Is it utilitarianism, consequentialism? If it's empathy, then I already shown you why that's that shouldn't be the case. So it definitely isn't empathy. Anyway, now we go for the dangers of moral relativism, specifically cultural moral relativism. It will start with a simple question. If hypothetically in the future grape was considered morally permissible and required by the culture, would you stick with cultural relativism and let someone do that to you? And bite the bullet, or abandon it if you defend moral relativism by saying the culture decides morality based on why, then you just debunked cultural moral relativism because you contradicted it by unintentionally saying the culture doesn't decide it, X decides it. If you say I'll disagree with culture and decide based on X, the usual response I hear is empathy and whatever. Then same problem. Now you're deciding morality not on the culture, aka majority in your society. Now for the problems of moral subjectivism. First off, let's eliminate the objective obligation to respect other people's morality, because that's an objective moral, and that's contradictory to subjectivism's thesis. Now then, if moral subjectivism was universalized and one person thought this was right and he must stop what is wrong because of moral obligation, and one thought the opposite, what would happen? Either two outcomes: manipulation, which eventually leads to conflict once the manipulation is spotted, or conflict, as you can see, or conflict because two of these people are required to have conflict, because two of these people cannot argue which moral is correct. So the inevitable outcome is conflict. As you can see, this is why moral subjectivism is very dangerous. And that's my video. I made this video because I'm sick of seeing these prevailing views of morality and people's lack of questioning, the morals they were taught. Like everybody assumes that morality is based on empathy or conscience, and this is very dangerous because empathy and conscience, they're very emotional, and when somebody tells you your empathy is wrong or your conscience is wrong, it naturally facilitates hostility. This is why I made this video, because these prevailing views are very problematic, and I really want people to actually get into moral philosophy and things like that. Even though I'm a theist, right? I came to this from a secular viewpoint because I wanted to appeal to all sides when it came to this. Anyway, that's my video. See ya.